Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I have a 1-month review for you guys today. It's the Puma Ultra Ultimate. All right, before jumping straight into the video, I did want to say a huge thank you to all you guys who are subscribed. We just passed 10,000 subscribers, a massive milestone in the world of YouTube. It is currently September 6th, and so just yesterday we did pass that milestone, so thank you very much. Details of the giveaway should have gone up already. This video review will come out way later, but I did want to say a huge thank you anyway. So let's hop into some of the features of the Puma Ultra Ultimate and then talk about why these are an incredible pair of football boots, but why I won't be wearing them. All right, so first talking about the design of these. Now, these were sort of leaked or released in the women's colorway for the women's Euros. Apologies again about this light. We're actually just going to turn this off really quick. Apologies about that. So these were actually released in a colorway that was almost an off-white with a red. I'll put it up on screen here just to show you guys what it looked like, and they were the exact same construction. Now, everybody thought they were the brand new 1.5s, the new Puma Ultras, but instead it was a completely different silo. The Ultra Ultimate became sort of this new name, new features. It's got a completely different construction, different sole plate, basically a completely redesigned boot other than the insole of the boot, which is still that nano grip technology from Puma. Now, this boot came out in, I believe, limited quantities, and as you can see, these are absolutely battered. These have been used in games. Full disclosure, I actually have sold these to one of my teammates, so I got a chance to wear them and really break them in, really get a sense for what they was like. And then I had several conversations with him over the last week or so of him actually wearing these in games. I got to wear them in training matches and then had to get out of them because they were hurting my feet a little bit. But I want to tell you why, if I could wear a boot that was a little bit thinner, I would actually pick these over a lot of the other options on the market right now. It is a full knit upper, so you've got that Evo Knit Plus or Power Print Ultra Weave upper in the entire upper construction. You've got a much lower heel. Often one of the complaints that I heard a lot in the Puma Ultra 1.3 and 1.4, and even in 1.1 and 1.2, was that the heel and the area where it came up to your the front of your foot in this area was much too high, and it created a lot of volume and a little extra space so that it would bend like this right on the ankle. That's something that I complain about a lot in my boot reviews, and it's something that I know a lot of people who've worn these had, excuse me, not these particular, but the 1.3 and 1.4 recently have had issues with, and that's something that they fixed with the Ultra Ultimate. It is a much more sleek silo. It's a much more slim fitting boot as far as how low volume it is, which I think is a really cool thing. So let's go through all the features of this boot and I'll rate them out of 10. So let's first start with the sole plate. We're going to start with the sole plate this time. So the sole plate is a pretty average construction, I gotta be honest. That being said, for FG and AG, for the most part, we actually train here at the pitch at Flower City on an AG pitch, and these are fantastic studs. They're not super high, but they're also not super long as well. So that's something that I really enjoy. They do incorporate some of the construction from the Vapor with this triangular stud shape. It almost looks like a triangle or a star, like triangle star type shape. And then you've got some chevron studs here in the back, and then a few chevron studs here in the toe area for a little more push off moving forward. So as far as the sole plate goes, again, it's a really good average sole plate. You feel really connected to the ground. There's a lot of movement in it, as you can see, tons of movement. There's a little bit of snapback. It's not incredible. It's not something anywhere close to a Carbotex insert. I would say it's a little bit better or on par with the current generation Nike Air Zoom Mercurial, so that's something to keep in mind. The air bubble on that one doesn't really have a ton of snapback. That sole plate is much more geared towards the feel on the ground. So that's something to keep in mind, whereas these are a really barefoot-like sensation on the sole plate. We'll talk a little bit about the upper as well in a minute, but that's as far as the sole plate goes. For me, the sole plate is about dead average. It's about a 5 out of 10. Very good for a speed boot. It works well, and it's got good traction, especially for AG pitches, and you're totally safe wearing these on AG pitches. You don't need the AG or multi-ground model like the MG version. But I would say 5 out of 10 for me on the sole plate. Let's move into the heel. The heel lockdown, in my opinion, has definitely increased compared to the 1.3 and 1.4 models. Both of those models didn't really have a ton of material here in the back, but they've added these little pods in the back heel right on either side of your Achilles, which is a really nice cushion feeling that doesn't give you too much grip so that it starts to give you blisters or anything on the back of your Achilles, but it does give you a really, really nice lockdown. And that's something that I've really enjoyed in wearing these boots for training sessions and training games during the last month or so. And so that is something to keep in mind as well. If you are somebody who has issues with lockdown in a lot of speed boots, these are gonna be really good for you. The introduction of this power tape doesn't really do a ton as far as what you're gonna feel in the heel area, but because of the suede liner, because of this power tape, and because of the way this heel is so low profile and designed, I think for most foot types, unless you have an absolutely massive heel, which again, just might not be the right boot for you in the first place, if you do have a heel that fits in this, it's gonna be exceptional for lockdown. I think that's something that they really did well, and at least for my foot, the lockdown in here is perfect. I didn't have any hot spots, and I honestly really enjoyed them. So for me, this lockdown is an 8 out of 10. So pretty high for the lockdown in the heel. So the heel area, again, really nice. My only complaint, and the reason it's not higher than an 8, in fact, I'd probably knock it down to a 7.8 out of 10, is this little piece of material right here that's pretty stiff for a little heel counter. So this is something that I wish they would have either cut or not made as high, because there isn't as much. It does soften up over time, as you can see. It's pretty soft now, but it is something that I would probably either delete or I'd make it much softer, almost like the tab of the Nike from the Vaporposit Vapor 14 Elite, which had that little tag on the back for you to get your hand in. And really that's the only function of this, is to help you get in the boot. Other than that, there really isn't any reason why you would have that. So that's why it's a 7.8 out of 10 for lockdown and heel area as far as I'm concerned. Now let's move to the upper, and this is that ultra weave upper with the power print that gives it that little texturing, and you can actually see, hopefully, there you go. So the camera will focus and you can see where it's a little bit dirty. That's where that power print is. And so what it is essentially, it's almost like Puma's ACC, but with texturing. And so it allows you to have a nice fit and feel on the ball without getting really wet when it rains outside and all that stuff. So that's fantastic. Really, really nice upper. They did such a good job of this one. This one actually reminds me a lot of 1.1 and 1.2 Puma Ultra, just because it gives you a little bit of stretch at the beginning, but after a certain point, it doesn't go any further. And that's actually where I want to jump in and say, that's the reason why I'm not going to be wearing these anymore. And that's why I've sold them to one of my teammates. So one of the things that I struggled with was I broke these boots in and they felt really good, but after about 20 to 30 minutes, it got really painful right on the outside of my foot, just because this boot is a little on the thinner side. If you do fit in Puma Ultra 1.3 and 1.4, or for that matter 1.1 or 1.2, these might be your absolute favorite boot of all time. They really are that good, and I think the upper is so thin, it's so soft, and it really does provide that one-to-one sensation on feet. For me, this is one of the best uppers on the market right now, and for that reason, I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. I really like this upper, and I really love how it feels on your foot. It's super barefoot. It provides such a non-plasticky but raw sensation on feet, which I think is super unique, and it definitely takes it a level above the current generation 1.4. Obviously, they've produced this basically on par at the same time as 1.4 as well, so you can get both the Ultimate and 1.4. I'm sure that this might be a teaser as to what's next for the Puma Ultra, and in that case, it's going in the right direction, because this upper, again, 8.5 out of 10 is really, really incredible. I really enjoy this upper. Comparing it to the other uppers in the current generation of speed boots from the big three brands, I would say it's thinner than the Vaporposit Plus from Vapor 15 Elite, the Air Zooms. It's thinner than that, and it has a little bit of less structure. So because it's so thin and so like paper thin, it does provide a little bit more of a barefoot sensation than the Vapor 15. And then as far as the knit material from the X Speed Portal 0.1, those ones I would say, at least for me, are super, super stiff, and those are much more plasticky. As I said in that review, if you want to go check that out, go ahead. It'll be linked down below in the description box. So the 0.1s are much more plasticky and reminded me a lot more of the ghosted 0.1s, which were the original Carbitex insert plate and everything like that. So again, Puma Ultra Ultimate, fantastic upper. For me, that's the highlight of this boot, and it really does a good job of making sure that you have a barefoot sensation while also giving you enough break-in period of time where it's not so stiff, like, at least for me, the Speed Portal 0.1, which was just outrageous to try to break in. It was so stiff, and I actually got rid of those already, if you can believe it. So that is the Puma Ultra Ultimate. Let's talk a little bit about the non-tech spec part of this boot. The weight is crazy light. I think it just sits around the 6.7, 6.6 ounce mark, which is pretty fantastic. They are absolutely featherweight, so that's something you want to keep in mind as well if you're looking for a super thin boot, super lightweight boot, and you have medium to thinner feet. These might be a really great option for you. They are super, super fantastic as far as weight goes. They really do feel totally weightless on your feet, which is a really cool sensation. Love that about this boot. Durability wise, they're a little bit less durable, I think, than 1.4, and that's only because of the way this upper is constructed. It's not as I guess durable is the right word, but it doesn't have the same amount of oomph that the 1.4 does. The 1.4 does feel very barefoot, but it's a little more plasticky, and so it does give you a little bit more durability. That being said, the only marks, and to be fair, the striker that uses these on my team is a very aggressive player as our number 9, and so he gets into tackles, he slides all over the place, and so he's going to beat the hell out of these boots. They've got a little bit of marking right there, so you can see this little piece is kind of coming off right there, so that might just have been a freak stud accident. But other than that, there are no areas on this upper where they've been split either from me using them or from him using them. The insert is totally great in the inside, and the heel liner is suede, so it'll wear a little bit over time, but it's still really fantastic there as well. So as far as durability goes, again, it's not as good as the 1.4, but I would say marginally. I'm talking like 2% less. And that's something that I would not worry about if you're gonna wear these. Most players, in my opinion, should not worry about durability because they're not aggressive enough, or they're not necessarily like using it as to beat the hell out of. That being said, if you are somebody who tends to go through boots really quickly, it's just to note that these boots might be super comfortable for you, but they might not be as durable as a 1.4 or like a Vapor 15 Elite or something like that. I would say the Vapors definitely are going to be a little bit more durable than these, but that's up to you to decide once you use them. But as far as durability goes, I'm going to give this one a 6.7 out of 10. So it's 7 out of 10. We'll give it a 7 out of 10. Push it up a little bit. So it's not the best, but it's also definitely not even average, so it's above average. Comfort-wise, just general comfort of this boot, I would say for most foot types, and according to my teammate who's worn them for games and a little bit more than I have, we kind of agreed that this boot, if you do fit in that, would be at least a 7.8 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Like, they're super, super comfortable. They're so pliable. They're so nice one-to-one sensation on the ball. So they do have a lot of comfort in them. It's just whether you fit in them width-wise or not. That's the biggest issue that I said before that I have right on this lateral side, whether or not I have enough width in this boot. So that kind of covers all the bases for the 1 month review, guys. I hope you enjoyed this 1 month review of the Puma Ultra Ultimate. If you guys are on the market for one of these, I would definitely suggest you pick one up. They are fantastic. Again, I would recommend them for medium width to thinner feet. So anything average or thinner, I'd say you will have a field day with these. You'll love these. They're a great pair of football boots. I really do wish that I could wear this pair of football boots, because this would probably be my speed boot of choice on the market right now. For as far as lockdown goes, they're incredible, great comfort, really good responsiveness from the upper and the sole plate. and just an overall really well constructed speed boot. Really takes me back to Evo Speed days, which is really, really cool. Just the upgraded version with the knit, so it's very comfy as well. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you have any questions about the Ultimate that I haven't answered in this review, definitely leave them down in the comments section below. As always, be awesome, take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.